So, Sunderland up next for Manchester United, and 7 goals in the last 3 games, not to mention all those shots. Beg the question, has the philosophy finally changed? I'm going to ask you first, Squawker Dave.
I think it's not more the philosophy, it's more the players that are in the side. Obviously, we've now seen sort of Wayne Rooney and Juan Mata playing up front together. I think it gives the perfect movement with Wayne Rooney coming deeper and then Juan Mata running the other way. When Wayne Rooney's played sort of, 2015, in the Premier League, there was no one running in behind, running the other way, so everything was coming towards United. With Mata in that position, we see him get him into the penalty area. The last few games he's had a load of shots in the box. He's been creating chances. So I think it's the front two, and then it's also Michael Carrick back in the team. He's been absolutely fantastic when he's played this season. You look at the win rates when he's in the team at 58% compared to 33% when he's out the team since Louis van Gaal took over. So I think it's a combination between players and confidence, and I think that's put those two together, and we've sort of got a decent sort of formula in a way.
Yep, okay. Andy Tate, thank you for joining us. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's a confidence thing. Last few games, even though it's only been Stoke and Derby County and the Chelsea performance, it's a confidence thing. We've really picked up on confidence. We're playing some football, scoring some goals, and I think it's down to the players personally. They've actually stood up and they're standing up to be counted, and they're doing very well.
Okay, Howson, do you agree with that? And if so, where do you think this newfound confidence has come from?
I think there's several factors at play. One is that we've had a bit of a settled team, and even though we're still picking up injuries, we've started to play with width from fullbacks, and I think that's been massively key to what we've been doing. And we've also played, I'm going to say wingers, but you know what I mean, with Martial's obviously not a winger, and Lingard's been doing okay on the right-hand side, and we've been getting round the back of teams. No longer are we sort of sat in front of teams just being forced to knock it side to side. I think it also helps that the teams that we've played have come at us a little bit and not really sat back and just sat 2 banks of 4 in front of us. So I think there's a massive combination of factors, and I actually do think Louis van Gaal has also let us have a little bit of freedom. If you look at what some of the things that the players are saying in the press, I think that there's an element of that as well.
Okay. Right, let's talk about Will Keane, because I don't know if you're aware of this, I'm sure you are. He scored 5 goals this week for the under-21s, one of which was absolutely sublime. Is it time to be looking at people like that to move them into the first team? Or, Dave, you were just talking about how settled it is. Do you think that would be mad?
I think that Will Keane's definitely got to be on the bench. A fantastic goal, Cantanares chip to the back post from just outside the area. But I feel that there's got to be an integration of these younger players in Manchester United, especially this season, given what we've got sort of fighting for 4th spot. We might as well give these young players a run. Fusa Mensah, Pereira, Januzaj back in the team, Wilson, Keane that we spoke about before, Rashford and McNair. I feel all these players need to get some minutes under their belt. I'm not a massive fan of bringing them on the last 3-4 minutes. They've not got enough time to sort of get into the game. I want to see these changes around the 60-minute mark. Give these young lads half an hour a game. Get them sort of playing some football. Get their confidence up, and then we'll reap the rewards next season.
Andy Tate.
Yeah, I'll take it to agree. I certainly included him in the squad for Saturday's game at Sunderland, and the way our club is run on tradition and blood in youngsters, it's a good thing. And then like I say, Sam, we've got to start including him in the squad and give him game time. It'll only do him good in the future.
Nice. Very good point. Howson, do you agree? This is all very cordial so far. Say something different. Kick off.
Well, what I will say is that I don't think he'll be in the squad this week. The under-21s play Manchester City Thursday night, and I think with the lack of strikers that we've really got at underage level as well, I think he'll be needed for that, and I think he will play in that, which is going to rule him out for this weekend against Sunderland. But I do think some point in the future, and I agree with what Dave said, giving him 2-3 minutes isn't going to work. But the problem that we've got is that we've not really been massively dominant in games, have we? And you don't want to bring a youth player on when you need something to happen, because then everyone just hammers them if they don't produce magic in their first appearance.
I think you've got to give those players confidence, though. You've got to give them those opportunities to make that, to get, change that game, to flip the switch. We've seen too much of United, just a bit too boring, the last 3 games it's changed. Yes, I agree, but we need these players to come on and just be explosive and do something else. It's too pedestrian at sometimes, and I think that some of these players, Januzaj, Pereira, Wilson, players with real pace that could add something else to that United attack.
I absolutely agree that we should do that, but we won't do that. And we saw with what happened with Nick Powell when we're chasing Wolfsburg. We bring Nick Powell on, and the whole world just loses its mind because that's what we was turning to. So if for instance, it's Chelsea, we go back to last week, and we'd have brought Will Keane on with 5 minutes to go, and we'd have still got the draw, or we would have gone from winning 1-0 to then drawing 1-1, everyone would have flipped out and everyone would have hammered him. We're not in a position at the moment where the club is stable enough for us to give half an hour every week to a new academy lad. So I think the timing's got to be a little bit right for both the club and the player. But Will Keane's definitely someone who deserves it. He's got 10 goals in his last 6 games in the under-21s. If he doesn't deserve it now, when is he going to deserve it?
Okay, good point. So while we're talking about teams, Howson, who would you play against Sunderland?
I'm going to go with the same team as last week, if possible.
Okay.
Everybody's fit.
Squawker Dave?
You see, I'm going to mix it up a tiny bit. I do like the selection at the moment. I think it's going very well. There's one slight tweak I'd make in central midfield, but going from my starting 11, I've got David De Gea in goal, obviously 3 fantastic saves against Chelsea, our best player this season again. The same back 4, Darmian, Smalling, Blin, Borthwick, Jackson. The fullbacks, like Howson mentioned before, have been very, very good going forward recently. What I like about it is how they're sort of playing the crosses. They're no longer playing sort of high balls to Marouane Fellaini. They're looking for width deliveries. They're looking for deliveries that are going on the floor, which sort of helps out. Helps Rooney, helps Martial, helps Mata, helps Lingard. These are players that are quite short that need those types of deliveries to get goals. My midfield's where I'm going to make my slight change. Lingard definitely at right wing, then Carrick and Herrera in central midfield. I think Fellaini, yes, he's good, he's physical and he's a big lad, but he doesn't give you enough with the ball. I think Ander Herrera's got to step in there. I think he's sort of, with Juan Mata, I think he links brilliantly with him. Going to go Martial on the left wing. He's got to be in there. Sort of the best reverse Iron Robin impression of recent time, coming on for his stronger right foot we've seen in recent games, and he's just been excellent. Then in the hole, I'm going to go with Juan Mata. I want to stop at the moment. I want to talk about corners for a second. I've been very frustrated with United's corners this season. Against Chelsea, we had loads of corners in the first half. And I looked at the conversion rates over this season in the Premier League. We've scored 3 goals from 142 corners. That is absolutely rubbish. That's a conversion rate of 2.1%, ranking us 15th in the Premier League. I question why Daley Blin's taking corners when we've got someone of Juan Mata's quality from set pieces. You look at assists in the Premier League in the last 5 seasons. Only Chris Brunt and David Silva have assisted more goals from the corner situation in that time length. So I just don't understand why Daley Blin's taken twice as many corners as Juan Mata in the Premier League as this season. And then obviously Wayne Rooney up top, and that's a wrap.
Do you know why? Do you know why we got Blin taking corners and why we're rubbish at corners? Because Ryan Giggs is our assistant manager. And in all the years that I watched United, I never saw Ryan Giggs beat the first man from a corner. That's why.
We had Phil Jones taking corners last year. What do you expect?
Okay, Andy, do you think that's the right sort of approach for the team against Sunderland? What would you like to see?
I keep the same 11 from last week. The confidence is there. They're there on merit and we're playing well. I'll just stick with if it ain't broke, why fix it?
I have actually just thought, I do want to make one change actually. I want to bring Schneiderlin in for Fellaini and I want to go.
I will definitely agree on that. Yeah, sorry. I retract that last statement. Yeah, I definitely know what Stephen said there.
Now, we're playing Sunderland. At the moment, the top story about Sunderland Football Club on the BBC Sport website is the news that Beyonce will play at the Stadium of Light. So there's not a lot going on with the football team at the minute. What should we be worried about? Are there any concerns going into this game, Dave?
Well, I think there's one player that he signed in January, Kazari. I really like him. I watched PSG versus Bordeaux, on a Friday night back a few months ago, and Kazari was the best player on the pitch. He got the assist for the first goal, whipped in a brilliant ball near post to Henri Savon, now at Newcastle. Savon then got sent off, and PSG were 2 goals to 1 up against Bordeaux, and Kazari just put in such a good shift, closed down the goalkeeper, forced him into an error, got the equaliser, and from that day, I've always sort of watched out for him because I think he's quite a good player. You look at his set pieces, he's got a pretty decent delivery. Before moving to Sunderland, he got 7 assists in Liga. 3 of them came from set pieces, 2 from corners, 1 from a wide crossing area. So we've got to watch out for committing fouls in the area. You've also got to look at Adam Johnson, the joint most assists in the Premier League in 2016. And then, of course, Jermaine Defoe. Only Sergio Aguero scored more goals than him in 2016. So those 3 players are my danger men.
Okay. Howson, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, Jermaine Defoe's absolutely killing it at the moment. He's flying. Like the player of old. I mean, he's rolled back 10 years near enough, hasn't he, for this form. Between him and Catamol and Jan Villa, they're going to be feisty, I think. And I hope more than reckon, actually. I hope that while they're at home, they're going to try and go for us. I just hope that they don't sit back. Because if they sit back, I think they've got defensively, I think they're capable of shutting us out if they do what every team has done when they've tried to play for a draw against us. Sunderland have got that in their locker to be able to do that and just completely stifle us. I hope they don't do that. I hope they've got the confidence in themselves to try and attack us. And if they do, I think Martial's going to rip them to pieces.
Okay. Andy, any worries from Sunderland?
Well, at this time of the season, they're desperate for the point. So, like you say, if they come out and come at us, we can pick them off at the back. So, yeah, points. Very desperate this season.
All right, then what do you think the score will be, Andy?
I'm going for 2-0 for United.
Dave?
I'm going to go 3-1 United.
Oh, very confident. Howson?
I'm going to say 2-1 United.
This is lovely. I'll go 1-0. Let's not get too excited. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Everybody else, let us know what you think about Will Keane, what you think about the philosophy, about the fact that the team is attacking so much now, and about the continuing rumblings between Schneiderlin and Fellaini. Who should be playing? Let us know. Thanks very much. We'll see you next time. Okay, it's pick the teams. Here we go. We played Chelsea, and now it is time for Howson to step in for Adam